First and foremost, we want to offer our sincerest sympathies and condolences for the victims of the Alaska earthquake. Alaska, you're our best and probably toughest state, and without you, we'd have no chance of counterbalancing the awfulness that is Florida, so pull through. We know you will. Welcome to Like Now But Worse, a show where we explore the manic insanity that is the human condition through historical events that we think are weird, and funny, or just cool. For example, this one today centers around Denali, or if you are a white person who doesn't climb, Mount McKinley. This is the tallest mountain in North America, and one of the most dangerous mountains in the entire world as far as mountaineering is concerned. This peak actually has a 13,000 foot elevation gain, and it starts out at sea level, making it a steeper elevation gain than the 29,000 foot Mount Everest, which is 9,000 feet taller than Mount McKinley / Denali. I'm going to call it Denali from now on because that's just the right name for it. Now, Denali is dangerous for a lot of reasons. First of all, it's pretty close to the North Pole, but obviously if you get up as high as airplanes fly, it's gonna get a bit cold, to the point where things don't even decay up there, kind of like in Antarctica. Now, Denali is very close to the North Pole because it's in damn Alaska. That means it's super cold. It's reputed to be actually substantially colder than the peaks of many of the 8,000 meters because of the wind patterns, which just ravage the face of Denali all the damn time. The winds are regularly at hurricane force. They'll literally blow men right off the face of the mountain. 4 climbers roped together were blown off their feet into some boulders, and if those boulders hadn't been there, McKinley literally would have blown them right off. Denali, not McKinley. That name, I'm just stuck saying it. Our topic today, which is the Sourdough Expedition, as it's so known in Alaska and throughout the mountaineering world now. This expedition was the first to climb the lower of the 2 peaks of Denali. So there's a southern peak and a northern peak. The northern is just a few hundred feet shorter than the southern peak. So for the longest time, many believed that the Sourdough Expedition had summited the mountain, when in fact they had only gotten to the second highest place on the mountain. But all the same, they were the first to succeed in climbing it. This mountain had a 100% fail rate before the Sourdough Expedition. The Sourdough Expedition is probably the most Alaskan-ass, American-ass group of men to ever exist on the planet, ever. And I'm going to tell you why. The Sourdough Expedition reportedly began as no more than a barroom bet. These miners, they were doing what miners do. They had their mining cash, they were getting some smooches, they were getting some whiskey, and they were just mixing all that good debauchery together, and they were having a good time. Now, being tough Alaskan miners, they got into a bit of an argument over whether or not Denali could ever be climbed by men, and they of course said,
well, sure, it can. We spend literally all of our time in the mountains, and we'll climb it.
They were just drunk enough that they took this bet very seriously. The bartender, or bar owner, whatever he was at the time, tavern man, bet them that they would not be able to ascend Denali, and they promptly agreed. They set off shortly thereafter, having really no mountaineering training other than what it took to get them up to the mines. They took with them the manliest motherfucking provisions that have ever existed in a mountaineering adventure. You know, usually these guys are well prepared, like Ernest Shackleton when he went to Antarctica. But these guys, they just didn't even give half. These guys reportedly took nothing to the summit except for a couple boxes of donuts and a couple thermoses of fucking coffee. If that isn't the most American-ass, man-ass, fucking Alaskan-ass that you've ever heard in your life, then I want to hear your story of something more manly than that. These guys took a box of donuts and some coffee, and they climbed the most dangerous damn mountain in America and one of the most dangerous in the world, which to that point had a 0% success rate by climbing expeditions from the East Coast who were professional mountaineers. So that's the Sourdough Expedition. They took a ragtag flag up there, they planted it on the north summit, and they walked right on back down. As far as we know, nobody died, but we don't even know if people got frostbite. They were such a tall tale in the time, originally people didn't even believe they'd done it, of course, which that makes perfect sense. If I was like, like,
oh yeah, just took me a box of donuts and coffee and climbed the tallest mountain in the whole continent. No big deal. Back to mining now.
sure you did, buddy. But this was proven true because the team that eventually summited the South Summit for the first time saw their flag on the North Peak on their ascent. So, yeah, it's up there. They really done did it. Whether all these things about coffee and donuts is true, these guys definitely won the most coveted title of Alaska's official spirit animal, and possibly the most American motherfuckers that have ever existed. Because if coffee, donuts, hangovers, balls and determination, overcoming all logic and force of nature, and just basic human intuition, and just conquering literal fear and death all at the same time, if that isn't America, I don't know what is. You tell me. You got a better definition than mine. You know, they're just like,
well, you might be tough nature, but we're miners. And we're just gonna wander right up to the top of the mountain.
Well, sure. I mean, miners, they were gonna just straight give it to nature no matter what.
they were. That's, you know, that's kind of what they do. They get all up inside of nature and they take out all the they want, and then they just leave it like that. Most of the time. Okay, so do you,
Yeah, they just go and they give nature a ruddy good seeing too.
They do.
And I can't think of a more British way to phrase that.
That was pretty damn British.
Yes.
In case you haven't gathered it yet, we're in the question round right now. So Jeremy,
Me.
you got a question down?
Yes, I do have a question. Has there ever been a less prepared expedition that has also succeeded?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
That is pretty tough.
I really...
I mean, you'd think that any expedition, even that prepared, but not more, would fail.
Yeah, no, and you're absolutely right. Usually they do. There have been a couple expeditions. Usually it's more of a solo expedition kind of thing, where they like purposefully go in unprepared.
Mm-hmm.
Like one guy named John Waterman, he was a pretty well-known Alaskan climber who actually died on Denali.
Sure.
He made it a goal to climb with like minimal provisions because he was on a whole kick about world hunger and stuff. He got pretty far up Denali with like no provisions and stuff, but you know, he did that on purpose. Like that was his whole deal. But he did not succeed. So I don't think that I know of. That's kind of why the Sourdough Expedition is so legendary and like a folktale. Man, there was some in the early ages of exploration that they would haul so much gear in and so much food, like because food wasn't as light and easy to bring in as it is now, you know?
Well, sure.
Like there was a...
Can't just load up on protein bars and hope for the best.
Well, I mean, you can, but usually the best isn't what you get. That's my answer.
Yeah.
If you're watching, ask us some questions. We're gonna let you know the topics ahead of time, and so you can always look ahead and ask a question about an upcoming topic if you're more interested in that than what we've talked about before, or if you have one from the topic from the week prior, ask it on this episode, and we'll answer it.
Exactly. You got no excuse, you f***er.
No, you're just being it. All right, lightning round. Let's do the
lightning round.
Okay, we're doing the lightning round. Go.
Right.
Wait,
so,
I gotta turn on the timer. Don't go.
Oh yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
Most of the
it's
time, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Now go.
Okay, so how far do you think that you've ever made it with those kinds of provisions? What was it, some donuts and coffee?
Oh, Christ.
Because I know I've made it like most of a morning on that kind of diet.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so I'll say this. I was a wrestler for a while, for about 15 years, so I cut a lot of weight back then.
Sure.
So I have gone 3 days without food before.
Sure,
and
that happens sometimes.
Yeah, and it blows a massive amount of chunks, my dude, I'll tell you that much.
So many. Yeah. Not literal ones, because there's just nothing there.
Yeah, because you just don't have any chunks to blow.
Yeah.
You couldn't blow chunks if you wanted to. And boy, I'll tell you, never has a McChicken tasted better than after like, oh man, that McChicken, I'm never gonna forget it, man. I'll never forget
Never.
that McChicken. I don't even like McChicken. I will not order a McChicken ever. You know.
I mean, yeah, it's a gross imitation of food.
Yeah,
That's-
it's not good at all. But I will always remember that one McChicken. It was like the first one after I've been on this
Well, yeah.
like 4-day, 25-pound.
Being that hungry will make anything taste good, including but not limited to a mixture of chicken and concentrated sadness.
Yeah, and it was
So-
some delicious ass sadness, man.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so
gives eating your feelings an entirely new meaning.
so I was like working out really hard during that period too, because I still had to go to practice and stuff, you know.
Like you do.
But I wasn't climbing a mountain, like in the Arctic. So
Sure, that is a pretty major difference.
yeah,
So I don't know.
because
That's,
there's a lot of challenges that come with Denali, you know, and that's
Absolutely.
If you're still watching, it's week 4. So hey, thanks a lot. Keep it up. Give us a like and a follow on, you know, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and our website, banditpimp.com. And keep watching. Thanks again.